Come in. We've just been killing time waiting for you guys, so there's some space over here, and there's some space here. Once you settle yourself in, let's find easy seat. So just rock yourself backwards and forwards. Grab hold of the bottom parts of your legs here and just see if you can open up your sit bones a little bit and find yourself comfortable. And then when you do, find a place for your hands. It's easy to rest maybe on your knees or sitting down, on top of your feet. Inhale and see if you can lift, make yourself tall. And as you exhale, can you hold that posture? Then as you inhale, can you soften and breathe down into the belly? And as you exhale, squeeze the belly from the bottom part of the belly, the middle part of the belly to the top part of the belly. As you inhale, open, soften the belly. See if you can find a little bit more length in the spine. And as you exhale, start to squeeze from the bottom part of the belly, the top part of the belly. So as we inhale, let's see if we can inhale through our nose. If we've got no nose blockages or it's not a challenge for us, let's see if we can slow the rate of inhale down. Maybe add one more beat to it. So as you exhale, can you exhale out to the same rate? So if you inhale for a count of 4, can you exhale for a count of 4? And while you're breathing in, quickly, gently scanning out with your mind, touching into your body, where is there anything tight, or where do you need to pay some attention to this morning? And as you breathe in, imagine that the oxygen and the air that you breathe in is travelling down into that part of the body or into the hip where it is that you're tight. And see if you can use that to soften as you exhale. If you've got no blood pressure challenges or issues, when you get to the top of your inhale, can you hold your breath for the same amount of time that you inhaled for? So if you inhale for 4, sit at the top of your breath for 4. Exhale for 4. How does it feel to sit at the bottom of your breath for 4? See if you can find that rhythm that works for you. As you inhale, imagining that the energy of the oxygen that you're breathing in is travelling down to those areas and those joints or those muscles that feel like they're a little tight and need a little bit of attention. And as you exhale, imagine that as you release that energy, that they're starting to soften those areas that are tight for you. We're going to do a couple more breaths here like this. So the next time you inhale, bring your palms to touch at your heart center. Exhale, inhale, elbows to lift. And as you exhale, push your palms away. Inhale, palms float to the sky. And as you exhale, release the fingers, interlace the fingers behind the back. Inhale and lift the chest. And as you exhale, hands come down onto the top of the knees. And from here, leaning over to your right. Inhale to lift. Exhale, lean over to your left. So as we inhale, let's come back to center. Release your fingers. Just fold forward, lead with the heart. Place the hands on the floor. Then as you exhale, can you walk your hands ever so gently forward. We're not reaching for a range of motion here, we're just gently starting to open up the front of the hips. As you inhale, see if you can find some length and lift through the heart, and as you exhale, can you soften at the hips? So we're not looking around the back, we're looking to keep our back in its natural curvature if possible. Next time we inhale, let's walk our hands back up. Take your left leg and see if you can fold it back behind you like a half hero pose. Leave the right leg sitting in front where you are. Then as you inhale, can you find some length and stretch? Then as you exhale, turn from the core and come out over that left hand side. Breathe in, make yourself tall. And as you exhale, can you soften a little deeper into the twist? Maybe that left hand can reach out and find the floor or the top of your foot. Then the next time you exhale, can the right hand follow down towards the left? Inhale and see if you can find some length. Exhale, can you soften? Twist a little deeper. Maybe you want to sort of see if you can pull with that left hand and push with that right hand. Next time you inhale, walk yourself back to centre. Take that left leg, fold it over. This time, whichever leg you had in front, change it. So you're sitting in the opposite side. Then breathe in to lift. Exhale, fold, walk the hands forward, lead with the heart. As you breathe in, imagine that energy of the world sliding down into your hips and allowing you to soften those joints as you exhale. Inhale, can you make yourself a little taller? Exhale, can you fold at the hips a little deeper? Maybe walk your fingers out a little further than where they are. Can you put your palms on the floor? Next time we inhale, let's walk ourselves back up to centre. This time, take the opposite leg, fold it back behind you into a half hero pose. Then inhale and see if you can find some length. This time as you exhale, turn down to the right. Now you might notice that you're a little different, no two sides are the same. So you might have a little more range of motion on this side, you might have a little less range of motion. As you inhale, can you make yourself tall? And as you exhale, can you soften and fold? Maybe that right hand makes it all the way to the floor. That left hand follows. Can you pull yourself around using that left hand? Can you push back against it using that right hand? That'll give you some height and some depth in that twist. Take 2 more breaths here. Each time you inhale, see if you can find a little bit more space. And as you exhale, can you find a little bit more depth or a little bit more rotation? Next time you inhale, walk yourself back to centre. Unfold that right leg. Come back across into easy seat. And we'll inhale to lift. Find some stretch. And then with the heart, let's fold forward. Looking up. This time let the hands fall as far forward as you feel comfortable with. Maybe you might rock from side to side to see if you can balance out and spread those sit bones a little deeper. Then as you exhale, can you walk your fingers forward? One tiny step further than where they are now. Next time we inhale, let's walk our hands back up. From here, rock over onto your right hand side, take your left leg and see if you can slide it out behind you. So we're coming into a sort of a pigeon arrangement. So you want to have this knee aligned roughly so it sits up underneath this armpit here. This lower part of your leg comes across to the front there. Then when you're ready, can you walk down and fold a little? Maybe you can rock up a little, come up so that the top of this back leg is straight. And the front of the leg on the floor. If you're tight in that hip, maybe you can take that block and tuck it up underneath that right thigh there. Then as you inhale, let's roll and see if we can lift the top of our body to look up. Then as we exhale, can we fold down and soften? Inhale to lift. Find that rhythm that works with your breath, and let's get a little bit of a roll happening. The next time you exhale, can you soften, maybe come down to your elbows? Let that head fall. If you want to be a little more active, maybe you're going to push the top of that back leg actively into the ground. Push the bottom part of the front leg actively into the ground. Next time you exhale, start to roll over back onto that right thigh. Swing that left leg back around. Bring the soles to touch. Now let's keep the soles pressed together this time. Grasp hold of the toes. Look, inhaling and looking up. Actively pull the top of the toes back towards you. And then as you exhale, fold from the hips. Lead with the heart. We're not looking for a rounded back. We want to try and keep our back in its natural curvature as much as we possibly can. Each time you inhale, see if you can bring that energy and that oxygen down into that space in the hips to soften and open it a little bit. As you exhale, can you pull yourself a little deeper? All the while taking notice and paying attention to what it is that your body's telling you it needs right now. Next time we inhale, let's lift ourselves back up. This time we'll take the right leg, slide it behind us, and we'll come into pigeon on the other side. Check that this knee is sort of aligned with that right thigh. Right elbow, armpit. And then as you exhale, can you soften a little forward? Inhale, roll up to lift. Exhale, soften a little forward. If you want to be a bit more active, drive the top of that back leg into the floor as you lift. Push down into the hips, into that left leg. Exhale, this time as you soften, can you put your elbows down onto the floor? Let the head fall. While you're there, just pay attention. Is there any in that left knee? Are you feeling any pain in there or any sort of acute tension? If so, what do you need to adjust? Maybe you take the muscles in that leg and rotate that thigh bone in the socket so you can take that little bit of that lateral tension out of that knee. Next time you inhale, bring yourself back up. Rock back, swing back around, bring both feet to soles to touch. This time grab hold of the toes and splay the feet open so that the soles of the feet start to look at the sky. Inhale, lift the chest, and this time as you exhale, see you pull yourself forward while you look forwards. Inhale and see if you can find some length in that spine. And as you exhale, can you pull yourself a little deeper? Breathing down into those areas in the hips, in the thighs, in the glutes. 2 more breaths here. Next time you inhale, come up to left, slide down so that you're laying on your left hand side. Pretend you're laying down watching telly, so you've got your hand sort of holding up your head, body's out straight. Then when you're ready, lift that top leg, grab hold of the knee, and see if you can start to pull that open towards your shoulders there. At the same time, can you rock forward and push the hips forward a little? Start to open out that front part of the hips there. At the same time, you're engaging that glute on that right hand side. Let's soften out of that, and then if we're able to, maybe we can grab a toe or an ankle or a calf, and then when we're ready, can we push that heel towards the floor? Now if you've got a strap might be useful for you. See if you can actively pull those toes back towards you using the muscles in your leg and push that heel higher. Rock forward and see if you can squeeze that right glute to push those hips forward. Becomes a little bit of a balancing act. So you're probably going to rock and roll a little while you're sitting up there. Inhale, see if you can find some space and create space in that right hip joint. Then when you're ready, let that hand go. Bring it down just to help you balance. Put it in front of your chest on the floor. Then let's start making some small leg circles. Maybe you want to make those leg circles a little bit larger. Each time your leg floats forward, make sure you've got your belly engaged, and each time you lift it up, squeeze those butt cheeks together and tighten up that right glute. Then let's come back to a neutral position and have that foot straight as you feel comfortable with and push towards the sky. Then as you inhale, float that leg down. Let the foot rotate so that they come to touch beside each other on the floor. Then as you inhale, lift. And as you get to the top, take this right femur and see if you can roll it and point those toes so they face over the top of your head. And really get some lift and pull and squeeze those glutes together. Exhale, let that leg float back down and touch. Inhale to lift. Rotate and squeeze. Exhale, let that leg float. Inhale to lift. And see if we can squeeze a little tighter. Let that go soft. Reach back up. See if you can grab hold of that foot. Do you notice any? Does it feel any difference? Have you got any more range of motion through there? What happens is, can you rotate that femur in the socket a little more deeply? Can you get a little bit more length? Maybe get a little bit more stretch over the top of your head there. Inhale and push that heel away. As you exhale, what muscles can you soften? Next time we exhale, let's gently unwind ourselves, flip ourselves over and change sides. Then when you're ready to lift that left leg up, grab hold of that knee, squeeze that left glute, rock forward up and push those hips forward. And can you bring that left knee closer up towards your chest? Breathing into that hip space, see if you can find some energy to open up and soften those. Then as you exhale, maybe reach down, grab hold of your toes or your leg or your ankle and push that left heel towards the sky. Inhale and lift and find some space. Actively push out of that hip socket and push that heel away. And at the same time, if you've got hold of your toes, can you pull your toes down towards you? Your legs bent or as straight as you feel comfortable it needs to be. Squeeze that left glute as you try and rock the top of those hips forward. Then as you exhale, let that hand go. Let's start to make some small circles with that leg. You might want to go in both directions. Then when you're ready, come back up to the stop, and as you exhale, float that left leg down. Inhale to lift, and as you get to the top, rotate that femur in the socket and squeeze those hips together. Exhale, soften and float. Rotate and lift. Part of the trick here is that lift takes as long as it takes you to inhale. It takes more control to lift it slowly than it does to race it up. As you exhale, soften. Rotate and lift. We're going to hold this one for a breath or two. Push those hips forward, squeeze those glutes, see if we can find some space in that hip. Then as you exhale, soften, put it all down. And from here, we're going to roll over onto our belly. Bend the left leg, bend the right leg, and see if we can reach back. Grab both of those feet and ankles. Find the place that works for us, and then as we do, let's push our hips into the floor. And we find that place, actively engage, start to push back into the hands. Maybe you can lift your knees. Maybe you can lift your chest off the floor a little bit. Hold this for a breath or two, then soften and put it all down. Find a little pulse here, inhale and lift. Soften and put it all down. 2 more, inhale and lift. Let it go. Inhale to lift. We're going to hold this one for 2 breaths. Exhale, soften, put it all down. Gradually unwind yourself from there. Supporting your head and neck, work back up to a seated position, but this time we're going to open our legs out wide. From here, right hand slides down towards that left toe. But before we do that, maybe put your hands down in behind your back and just wiggle, spread your sit bones apart and see if you can roll yourself forward on your hips. So you roll yourself forward on your sit bones, and then from there let's slide that left hand down somewhere towards that foot, that toe, palm faces upwards. grab a hold of whatever it is that we can grab hold of. Then inhale, take the opposite hand and see if we can find some stretch and some lift. And then to your own degree, let that top hand fall over the top of your head towards the floor. As you inhale, can you find a little deeper reach through there? Through that left hand. At the same time, checking in, sit bones or weights evenly distributed across them. So we don't have that right sit bone floating up in the air. If we do, how does it feel if you actively push that right sit bone down towards the floor? Next time we inhale, let's bring that side up to lift and stretch. Exhale, this time right hand slides down towards the right toe. And then when you're ready, bring the top hand down towards that right toe. While you're there, check to see if your weight's evenly distributed across your sit bones. Maybe you want to open that chest up a little bit so that we're not crowding and rolling across, that we've got our chest open and this is a side bend. As we inhale, can we find some length and stretch? And imagine that energy going down to those muscles that run down through our side, through our ribs, and into our hips. And as we exhale, using that energy to soften them and find some length. One more breath here. Inhale this time and lift. Reach down, grab hold of the backs of the knees, bring the soles of the feet together. Again, reach down and open up the feet so that we take the soles of the feet and we open them up to the sky. Then as we exhale, let's see if we can pull ourselves forward, heart leading. As you breathe in, can you find a little bit more space in the lower part of your spine? Can you find a little bit more space in those hips? So as you exhale, you use that energy to soften down into them a little deeper. Can you let your knees fall a little closer towards the floor without forcing them? As we inhale, let's lift. Again, open the legs out wide into a seated straddle position. This time, take the right hand, slide it across the body, and see if you can stretch it somewhere out towards that left foot. Then let that left hand follow it out and see if you can find the ground on the outside of that foot. And then when you're ready, let the head fall and start to gently pull your chest somewhere in the direction of the ground. Check your sit bones, the weight's evenly distributed across them. You haven't got the left one loaded. If you do, actively use the muscles down in your hips and your thighs and your core and your belly to push that right hip down towards the floor. Inhale, bring that back up to lift. Then as you exhale, let's walk this left hand over to the opposite side and see if we can make the heart float somewhere towards the earth in that direction. Actively push the muscles of that left hip down into the ground so the weight in our sit bones is evenly distributed. Maybe you can pull yourself a little deeper. Actively use the muscles in your legs to pull your toes up and see if you can lift your heels from the floor at the same time. Inhale to lift. Walk back up to center. Grab hold of the outside of the knee. See if we can bring our soles of our feet back together this time. Then as we breathe in, let's see if we can find some stretch. Stretch the hands all the way to the sky. As we exhale, Bring them down behind the back. Now you might choose to bring the palms together into a reverse namaste if you can do that. If not, maybe you'll just grab hold of each wrist. And then when you get to that place, breathe in and lift the heart. Look up towards the sky ever so gently. Take notice of what's happening in your hips and your knees. You'll probably find they feel like they're lifting, so while you're there, actively turn those muscles off. You just got to squeeze the core to stay lifted, but can you let those muscles go and those knees fall open a little further? Inhale and lift the heart. Exhale and soften and let it fall. Next time you inhale, let's gently unwind the hands here. Now you might bring yourself to easy seat. Ideally you have your right leg in front of the left. And if you're able to, maybe pick up that left leg and can you tuck that up on top of the lower left leg. If not, that's cool, just sit in easy seat. If that's as much as it is for you, that's cool. Then if you're able to, maybe fold from the hips, let the hands walk forward towards the front of the ground. Inhale, can you find some space and some length in the hips? Exhale, can you let that soften a little? Inhale and find the length. Breathe that energy down into those hips. See if you can let them open up a little. Check in. Have you got one hip bone or one sit bone lifted a little higher off the ground than the other? If so, can you actively push to let them fall back so the weight's evenly distributed? One more breath here. Inhale to lift. So let's gently unwind ourselves from there and then swap those legs over. And then when you find the place that's comfortable for you, breathe in, find some length in your spine, and exhale, then start to walk your hands forward as far as you feel comfortable with. So what we've been doing is a version of a double-seated pigeon, I guess, is probably the easiest way to describe it. As you inhale, let that energy travel down into those space in the hips. What can you soften each time you breathe out? Next time you breathe in, walk yourself back up. And for the last time, let's open our legs up so our toes point straight ahead, so we come back into our wide-legged seated position. Place the hands inside the knees. See if you can rock yourself forward a little. And then as you breathe in, lead with the heart. Let the chest fall towards the ground. And maybe take those hands, can you walk them out somewhere down towards your knees, your ankles? Maybe some of you can reach out and grab hold of your toes. And when you get to that place, use the muscles that are in your legs. See if you can rotate your femur so that your toes open out a little bit and point a little higher towards the sky. Let's inhale to lift. And now, without doing all the usual stuff that you might usually do, turn yourself around so you're sitting you're long ways on your mat, and lower yourself back down onto your back so you're laying down. See if you can do this and resist the urge, like doing a little spinal twist or a little hip rotation. See if we can set a slightly different pattern. Close your eyes, let it all soften down. Take notice of how, if anything, feels differently. Start to check in with your muscles and your toes and your feet. Make them go soft, let them relax. Backs of the knees get heavy as we soften the muscles in our hips and the ITB area. We've given them a fair workout today. Belly goes soft as you let your breath return back to its normal cadence. Backs of the arms are soft. Arms get heavy, chest gets heavy, shoulders get heavy as they sink down into the ground. Check in with the muscles in your jaw and your neck, through your cheeks. Close the eyes down. Let the muscles in the eyes and the forehead go soft. Take one last full breath here. Let it all go. And as you lay there, just see if anything comes up. Pay attention to it. The hip area stores a lot of emotion, a lot of energy, and we've done a lot of work on opening that up today. So we're going to rest here in Savasana for a while. You stay here in Savasana for as long as it is that you feel you need to.